Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Health Movement Podcast. I'm Derek, your host. I'm a certified personal trainer and a teacher of over 20 years. And I have an awesome guest today that I think is the perfect time of year to have her on. But before I introduce her, I just want to reiterate that we are not doctors. So before you go changing any programming or nutrition or anything like that, please check with your physician. Also, if you are watching this on YouTube, please give us a like, follow, subscribe, leave comments, all that good stuff. If you are over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to it, please hop over to the YouTube channel, the Health Movement Podcast, on there as well. All right. Now, we don't usually get into as much programming or muscle building techniques, but this is a time of year where everyone's got the beach on the mind and getting ready for unveiling that summer body. And what better part of the body to talk about than the glutes? So with us today, I have Coach Cass. She's a certified strength and nutrition coach and works with science-based training for glute hypertrophy to get the booty working for the summer. Cass, thank you so much for joining me. I
Of
appreciate it.
course. Thank you so much, Derek, for having me on. I appreciate it.
I do get this question a lot where it's like, all right, how do I grow my butt? Or and I think a lot of people look at it aesthetic. I got to be careful with the way I phrase that. People want one for aesthetics a lot of times, but it's also overlooked functionally how important having a strong butt is. So I just want to know, how you get started with this focus and how the training is going with your clients and everything like
Yeah.
that. So if you can give us a little bit of background, that would be awesome.
Yeah. How about I start with like how I got into fitness in the first place? Is that all
Awesome.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So, back in 2020, I feel like a lot of people reference this because it's like it's a
COVID.
pivotal moment, right?
Yeah.
And in 2020, I was in ultrasound and I'm still in ultrasound today. And what was happening. It was in full swing, kind of around like springtime, like kind of around like now.
Yeah.
And I was pregnant. I got furloughed and I had like an 18-month-old son at the
Mm.
time. And so I was literally cooped up in our townhome, like nothing to do. I didn't even go to the grocery store because at that time we weren't sure how COVID would affect pregnancy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, this is like getting because I'm very outgoing. I like to like be around people. Like that's my thing. So like being home by myself, like not going anywhere was really difficult. And then I ended up like not sleeping through the night. Like I was only getting like 1 to 2 hours of sleep. And that can wreak havoc on your brain. It like
Yeah. Oh,
messes you up.
100%.
Yeah. And so I was like spiraling. I was having anxiety, like extreme anxiety about like sleep. And then I started to like go into like a slight depression because there was just one day where I was looking at my son, who I love very much, but like at that time in my brain headspace, I was like not feeling anything. Like I couldn't
Oh,
feel sadness or love or like I was looking at him and I was like, how do I feel this way? Like
yeah.
this is not me. And like it scared the shit or sorry, it scared the heck out of me.
You're good.
So I was in this moment, like this really hard moment, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was trying to nap during the day, and that wasn't working. I was like trying to just do anything to help myself feel better. Like, I would call my mom and my best friend, like crying because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't just go outside either at that time because it wasn't quite warm enough yet. But it was kind of in that transition. So like eventually toward the end of this spiral, I was able to go outside and because I was in Minnesota at the time. I'm in Florida now. But
Minnesota's not the warmest place in the world during the early spring months.
no, no, it's not. And so some days are cold and some days are warm. So I was lucky. There was a couple warm days. We decided to go outside and I was kind of just like, I'm done feeling like this. Like this is ridiculous. So then I just started like running around baseball fields, pregnant.
Oh,
Just yeah, just running around baseball fields. And in that moment, I could start to feel my heart beat again. Like I just felt like, oh, I can feel something, because I was
yeah.
in this numb feeling, which if you haven't experienced it before, you really just don't understand what it's like to feel this way. Like it's
Numb
not
is a
having a
good
feeling.
word to
Yeah,
describe it. Yeah.
right. Not having a feeling is worse than having bad feelings, I feel like.
Yeah. Yes, I
And
agree. I agree.
yeah, yeah. So that it was just so hard for me and to feel like that little bit like while I was running to feel something. I was like, okay, something clicked. It was like, okay, movement is medicine. Like there is something here that is helping me feel something. And of course, like I did all of the other things. I went on the SSRI. I worked on my sleep hygiene. I did all of the things that will help you get through something like that. So I'm not saying, oh, just do this and you'll be
Yeah.
fine. But I just know like a lot of people in this day and age are going through similar things. They're going through anxiety, they're going through depression because it's just a different landscape. We have social media, everybody has access to everybody else's lives, which we didn't have back in the day.
And I think
And
another thing with that access to everyone else's lives, most people just put up the perfect part of their lives. So people assume, like, oh, why can't I be like, but you don't see behind closed doors. Everyone's dealing with something on some level. So I think that piece is kind of
definitely.
tough.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It is. Because you're like, why is my life not as grand as this other person? And people just like, they're not going to be as inclined to put that stuff up,
Yeah.
right?
It's awkward and scary to be that open and vulnerable with the world. Like nobody
Right.
feels comfortable initially doing that.
Yeah, and some people they do, and I think that's great because it does give light to uh how life really is, you know.
Yes. Yeah, I
Um,
did see a post, not to get sidetracked, but I appreciated the heck out of this. It was an influencer who does fitness and that sort of thing, and she was getting ready for the gym. And I think she had like a sports bra and in leggings on, so you could see her stomach. And she was sitting on the couch, and she's like, "See, I have rolls. Like this is normal." And when I stand up, the lighting is good. I have a pump. I'm getting the right angle. She's like, that's why I look like that, but this is normal. So it's, I think, helpful for people to see that you're gonna look a certain way, and that's the way you should look. Like it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I 100% agree, and I think like to try to put yourself to this like standard that doesn't even exist, you
Yeah.
know. That's really hard. And I, in my glute class, something that I'm really trying to ingrain in these women is like, your body isn't something that needs to be changed or that should be punished. Your body is something like that needs to be strong and take up space. And like, we're not about like shrinking women, we're about lifting them up, their booties as well, but um, lifting them up and helping them feel strong and helping them feel powerful because I think that's really where transformation can happen, not only within the body, but within the mind and within like the emotional well being and everything like that.
Yeah, and I think taking that approach as well, when you look at it that way, the body changes regardless of all the stuff that you're doing. And it usually changes in the way that you're hoping to, even though that might not be 100% the focus. If you're taking that other, like more holistic approach that you're talking about, like trying to fix and improve every aspect of yourself, body just kind of goes along with it.
Right, right, exactly. And it's, I want to instill in my members and my clients, like, this isn't something that's you're going to like work up to and then all of a sudden like hit that goal and then be done. You
Yeah.
know, it's more about like, okay, these are the steps that I need to take to continue to build and keep the momentum going. Because if I'm not keeping the momentum going, then you fall back,
Yeah.
and it's just like you don't you have to keep building on the progress that you've already put in, and it's something that's lifelong. It's not something that you just one day get to. Like, you can get to a point where you're like, wow, I feel really good about this, but you
Yeah.
have to keep it up. Like, it's not something that just
Oh yeah, if you stop, it disappears. But that's like anything. If you haven't, I think aside from riding a bike, that one you never forget. But if you've skied your whole life and don't ski for 10 years and you get back on the slopes, like, yes, you're probably better than a lot of people, but it takes time to get back into that, or,
mm,
pull-ups or whatever it happens to be. If you
yeah.
don't continue using it, you lose it.
Yeah, and listen,
But
as we age, we're losing bone density, we're losing muscle. Like, I think it's after 30 or after 35, something like that.
yeah, I think it's after 30, you lose a certain percentage every year. And
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
like if you aren't like already trying to prevent that, like if you're not like in this preventative, constant preventative like strength training, then you're going to lose muscle and you're going to lose bone density, and that's like when as we age, like we start to see falls and we're not able to get out of our chair. And speaking of getting out of your chair, like this is one of the things that glute training helps with. Like, and so you're not only helping your body right now, but you're helping it in the future.
Yeah, oh,
You
100%.
know?
And if you're 60 and you haven't done this yet, it's not too late. It
No,
definitely you will see benefits from starting off this
you're
way.
right.
But if you're 25 and 30 and start it, you're going to be in a,
You're
a
ahead
lot
of the
better
game.
place going into it, which is huge. But it's so functional, and you think about as you get older. And I had the epiphany. I'm 46 now, and I'm
Okay.
at the gym today, and I'm like, crap, I'm closer to 60 than I am to 30, which was kind of eye opening. Um, but I mean, uh, I know plenty of people in their 60s who are in phenomenal shape and they have plenty of energy and they're able to do all the stuff they want to do. So in my mind, it's like, it doesn't really matter where I am as long as I keep doing what I know I
Oh my
need to
gosh, I am
do.
like, I see these older ladies, like, I can't remember what her name was, but she was like an American Ninja Warrior. She was like an older gal. She's
Yeah.
like, I think she was like 80, and she's doing pull-ups, she's doing monkey bars, she's doing all this crazy
That's
stuff, and I just
crazy.
find it so inspiring. I'm like, oh my God, like you really can start at any age.
I don't know if you've seen, he's on a lot of social media. Body by Mark
Oh,
is his handle. He'll
yeah,
go up to random people on the
yes,
street or in the park and it's like, what do you do for exercise? And some of these people are in their 60s and they look 40, and
yeah,
they'll do like pull-ups right in front of them, and they'll get 20 or 30. And
yeah.
a couple of things I've noticed that they all have in common is they consistently do stuff. Um, Most don't drink or drink rarely, and
Mhm.
then they eat mostly whole foods. Like, you hear all different, like some are on carnivore, some are on, the keto diet or vegetarian, whatever, but it's mostly whole foods. And I don't
Yeah.
know, it's pretty cool to see when you start getting those common factors that all these healthy people
Oh,
have.
for sure, for sure.
Hey,
I don't know if you've ever seen like the Centurions.
no.
Yeah, they're like these people that have lived the longest, so till like 100 years old or something in this specific region. And they found that like a commonality between them all is like they're eating really well. They are really putting a lot into their relationships as far
Yes,
as
that's a
like
big
their
one.
family and their friends. Like they cultivate relationships and they keep those strong. And then they're exercising, they're walking a lot apparently, and they still like drink wine and stuff, which I think like when we're talking about drinking, I think it's like as long as you are careful and like you're
Yeah.
balanced about life, like you can have this balance where you don't have to like completely get rid of everything,
Oh
but
no,
if you want to
I
have
don't think
like,
you should either.
yeah.
But
So
that's great. And that's the thing, we say it on here a lot. I keep saying we because I started this with my buddy Tim and he switched careers to a firefighter
we're in the
EMT.
same field, right?
Yes, I know. So it's the universal we.
Uh-huh.
But you don't have to get rid of everything. You can, as long as you're mostly clean and you're consistent with what you eat, like you've got to be able to enjoy life a little bit. Like if it's chicken, broccoli, and rice every day, you're going to be miserable, and that's
Oh my
not
God. I couldn't do
sustainable.
it. I
No,
couldn't do it.
absolutely not.
I,
Now,
I actually work out so I can eat
yeah, that's
because
perfect.
I'm like obsessed with food. Like I I don't eat whatever I want all the time, but there are times where I eat whatever I want.
Yeah,
So
and that's okay. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with that. There's
yeah.
nothing
I
wrong with
mean,
it.
I can because I work for it, right?
Yes. Yeah. And you're
Yeah,
happy. Like that's what you need. You need to spice it up a little bit.
yeah, and I don't
Um,
feel guilty. So
no, and
sorry.
don't,
And
that's
then
a big, I don't know if you've touched on this or your feelings on this. And my
mhm,
first thought, well, I'll just introduce it and then I'll ask the question. But there's a new view on food where it's like you don't label anything good or bad. It's just food and you get different energy.
mhm,
I mostly agree with that. Like if you eat bad food, and I'm using quotes if you're
yep,
not watching all the time, it's going to have a negative effect on your body. Like that's just the way it is. There
yep,
is food that is better for you.
yeah,
But I don't think you should feel guilty for eating cookies. If you want to eat some cookies, eat some cookies. Just
yeah.
understand, what you get from that. And
I
then,
think I think it's like instead of we can go away with labels, that's fine, but we still need to know what has nutritional value and what doesn't.
yes, yes, thank
So,
you.
like, if you want to talk to your kids about healthy eating, like, they need to know about these things. Like, we need to be teaching them because if we don't teach them, then they're going to have to figure it out the hard way.
Yeah.
And so, what I tell my kids a lot of times is like, this has a lot of protein, and protein's really good for you. Like
Because it helps
or
build
I
muscle,
said
it
good
keeps you
for you, but like it
satiated.
is good for you.
It
It
is.
has a lot of nutritional value. Um, so like I'll just explain things to them in that way, and then like they'll have candy. My kids have candy, but I'll say like that has a lot of sugar, and if you eat too much of it, your tummy's going to hurt.
And you're going to get exhausted and you're going to
Yeah,
crash and then you'll get
right.
moody and there are
Yeah,
repercussions to what you eat. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're on the same wavelength. And it would be
yeah.
okay if we weren't. There's nothing wrong with that. But
No, yeah. I like to educate. I think it's important to do that. Like, yeah, I don't want you to feel bad for eating this. Like, enjoy the ice cream because I enjoy my ice cream when I have it. Like,
oh yeah.
And if you can make a food like that's bad for you, good, like that's what I try to do a lot of times. Like, me and my friend, we just made, or she just made these like Reese's cups, but she put like peanut butter protein in these Reese's cups
Oh,
and then
nice.
like put chocolate over it. Like, I think there's ways where we can kind of get creative and have those like more guilty pleasures. But then like add some kind of nutritional value to them, like add some
Yeah.
protein to them. And
I've
I've been
mentioned,
seeing so many things like on Instagram where you can make these certain desserts, and I'm gluten free now, and this is something that's new for me. So I've had to get creative with that as well, and that's been kind of fun to start trying to do that.
yes, some of those recipes suck. I'm sorry. I know I'm not the best cook in the world, but they're like
Yeah.
three ingredients and simple steps, and it does. But others taste fantastic.
Hmm.
I've said it on here a few times, so I apologize to those that have heard this. But I make protein ice cream now that I have every day. It's got maybe 300, 350 calories, 40 grams of protein. The only sugar is coming from honey and whatever's in the milk. but it
Wow.
is phenomenal. Like
Okay.
it's not Dairy Queen good, but
Uh,
it does the trick for me. And I'll start like I threw a peppermint in and crushed that up and poured it and see it, and then just like, all right, that tastes pretty good too. So you just kind of keep
mhm.
messing around with it, and it's there are definitely plenty of ways to make healthy food taste really good too. Healthy. There I go doing it again. But yes,
Yeah,
food
having
with
those guilty
higher quality
pleasures.
nutritional value. There we go. Yeah.
Yes, there we go. You'll have to send me that recipe, by the way.
I will. I will. I'll
Yeah,
send it to you. It's
yeah.
actually pretty easy. If I can do it,
Okay.
you could definitely do it. Yeah.
Awesome. I love easy. That's another thing, like with my glute class, I all of my nutrition stuff, like we have a super easy nutrition guide. So my main focus is like 0.9 grams per pound of body weight per day,
Yep.
trying to hit this
Of
protein goal.
protein. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Protein. We want complex carbs, of course, but we're not tracking that. So I say no naked carbs, and I don't know if you know what a naked carb is.
I do, but I'll allow you to explain it for
Okay.
those that
A
don't.
naked carb is when you don't have any kind of protein or fat on your carbs. So say you have like a croissant and you just eat the croissant. That's naked carb. So we work on different strategies to where like, okay, this is I should prioritize this carb, like a rice with a salmon, and you're eating that together as like a
Yep.
whole meal. You're not just like eating the croissant for breakfast because
I
that can
agree.
really raise your blood sugar levels, and that's not good because then you're kind of messing with your insulin response, and it kind of and then you're going to see inflammation in your body and all of that, and that's leading me into the next thing that we really prioritize is reducing sugar. So we're focusing on the protein intake, increasing that, reducing our sugar intake. And right now we're doing 10 teaspoons per day, trying to reduce to that right
Now, is
now.
that added sugar or is that like fruits, veg, or,
Yeah, it's mostly added sugars.
okay.
I told them like I wouldn't have like two bananas because bananas are very high in sugar. So just be careful, but fruits do have nutritional value to them. They have vitamins and minerals, so I don't ever want to tell my clients not to eat fruits,
Yeah.
especially, and obviously have vegetables. But yeah, so that's a good question.
Yeah. And that honestly, like, you hear that a lot where there's a lot of sugar in fruit, don't eat fruit. But I think a lot of the people who are getting too much sugar, it's not from fruit. It's
Yeah.
from all the other
It's
stuff
from
that
like the drinks mostly. Like, so I tell them like no pop. Do not eat
yeah.
or pop. That's my Minnesota
Huh.
coming out.
Yeah, no, I know what that is. That's soda for those who don't know what pop is.
Yes, exactly. So no soda, no like super sugary like coffee drinks. Watching out for their creamers, watching out for like any added sugars and like sauces. Barbecue sauce is like a really big culprit.
Those are killers. Those
Mm-hmm.
are the absolute, and people don't realize it. And you're not going to have a little squirt of ketchup on your burger. So a lot of people that that's
Yeah.
where a lot of the problems come from the condiments
Mm-hmm.
that you don't realize.
Yeah,
I
I
did
nice.
find it's a buffalo chicken
Uh-huh.
sauce, and it's 20 calories per serving, and I don't think there's any added sugar, and there's almost nothing to it, and it's so good. So I
Mhm.
was happy when I found that one there.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, just watching out for those and sauces and stuff. So that's kind of like the nutrition component. And then all of my recipes I like to keep really simple because I'm busy. I know they're busy. Like everybody's super busy.
Yeah.
So I don't like to make things complicated. I'm like, okay, so let's do a high protein pasta. So we're not like getting a ton of carbs. We're adding some protein in there, then let's add some beef and, just a low sugar red sauce. And that'll be like one meal, like making it super simple to where it doesn't have to be super complicated. Cause I find that that's what a lot of people do is they just overcomplicate things. They're like, how many calories should I be eating and stuff. And for the weight loss folks and people that really want to lose weight in a shorter period of time, yeah, you have to be in a deficit and you
Yeah.
probably should be watching your calorie intake, but that's just not how I personally like to approach my nutrition.
I think I'm glad you said that. The protein numbers are important. You've got to hit your grams of protein. If you're, 50 grams, 100 grams short consistently, you're not building enough muscle. So if you can just focus on that macro, and then keep everything else relatively clean and healthy, and like you said, just no naked starches or naked
Yeah.
carbs. Sorry.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, that's a lot of times all you need.
Right.
You're
And
not
then just like
going to.
watching like when you're eating too. Like I tell people like don't eat close to
Yep.
bedtime. Like 3 hours to before
Is
bedtime is
ideal.
probably good actually.
Yeah, that's definitely
Because
good.
like we start getting our melatonin starts increasing and then our insulin sensitivity goes down, so we're not able to, more blood sugar is getting into the blood, so we're having like a higher spike at night because we're not able to regulate it as well as we
It,
are during the day.
and you want to give your body a chance to relax and not be
Yeah.
working in overdrive,
Right.
which is definitely important. And that way, your body starts using your fat cells and everything like that to break those down for energy, as opposed to just constantly jumping down
Taking
to
that
the
sugar
stomach
in.
and pulling all that stuff out. So,
Yep.
all right.
Yep.
So the nutrition in your mind, hit the protein. You need that. Eat pretty clean and not 3 hours before bed.
Not 3 hours before bed. Try to like eat a little bit like an hour after you wake up as well. Yeah, just like those little things, I think they can add up over time, and you don't have to start all of it all at once. Like just pick one thing a week and then stick to that for maybe a month, and then pick the next
Yep.
thing and stick to that. Like if it all seems too overwhelming, just choose one thing, and then once you got that down, go to the next thing.
That's because it's a lifestyle change. It's
Yeah.
not a 12-week program and you're done. This is like,
No.
let's fix it forever and then
Yeah.
you're good to go. So
Right.
that's the nutrition part.
Yes.
Um, what about the workouts?
Yeah.
How do you
And
build? I need to build my glutes. They are not where they should be. So I
I love that because not a
got.
lot of men like to or care about that, but they are so, like you said in the beginning, they're a functional part of living and they can actually increase your performance, like
Oh,
sports
it's
performance.
huge.
They can
If
prevent
you look at
injury.
professional athletes, they all have big butts. Like they're
Yes,
strong, and it comes
they do.
from you're not usually going to have like a good strong glute with tiny legs. Like it
Yeah,
comes together, and you're right. If you want to keep playing sports or whatever it happens to be as you get older, you need to build up the muscle to protect everything else.
exactly, exactly. And newsflash to the men out there, women like glutes too. Like,
Good
I
to
know
know.
I've overheard many women say, "Oh, he has a nice butt," like, so we are looking at that too, and I think it's just like a part of like our nature. Like back in the day, if you were athletic, you probably had a bigger bum, and that was like attractive as we were like instinctively trying to find a partner that can provide like food for us back in the
Yeah.
day, or can like hunt and catch things.
That's a
So,
good call right there. All right,
yeah.
guys, work on your glutes too.
So, yeah, even though I don't like necessarily train men as often, like I do think men should still be prioritizing glute strength and hypertrophy into their routine because we don't want a flat booty.
We don't want the jeans falling down. I get it. I
No,
get it.
no, the chicken legs, they aren't cute.
No, no, definitely not. So what exercises or frequency? What's I don't want to
Yeah,
steal all
so
your secrets.
so for my beginner, so it's a little different depending on how long you've been working out and everything like that. So if you're a novice, like if you're just starting out, you haven't worked out in a while, I have all of my members that are in that phase, starting with body weight, mostly body weight exercises, actually. And I do that because I want them to really get that mind muscle connection to
Yeah.
be able to really focus on the foundation of these movements. And within the glute class, I'm instructing them like, okay, this is how you should be setting up and this is how you should be performing your lift. And we go over like everything from head to toe, what it should look like, how fast you should be going, and that kind of stuff. So they're getting really the basic foundation of everything in that first 4 weeks.
I think
So,
that's huge, though, functionally to perform them correctly. Because if you start adding weight and your form's off, you're A, not going to get the most out of each lift, but B, you're going to hurt yourself, and then you're set back 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it happens to be.
right, exactly. And I found a lot of my beginners were super tight and they weren't flexible. A lot of these programs aren't having proper dynamic warm-ups within their
Ugh.
programs too. So they'll start my program and they're like, "Oh my God, like that was a lot. That was like a lot of stretching." And I'm like, "Yeah. We
Yeah,
need to be able to stretch because if we're not able to like loosen up our joints and loosen up our muscles, like we're not able to get through those full ranges of motion when we start to do the bigger movements."
absolutely. I was just going to say full range of motion, but yeah, that's huge. If you're only getting 70% of the range of motion, you're losing out on, 30% of the growth that you could be getting. So that's big.
Right. So, we're loosening up the hamstrings, we're loosening up the quads, we're doing like I love this like world's greatest stretch dynamic warm up where you're like lunging and you're bringing your forearm down and then you're rotating your upper trunk and then you're going into like a hamstring stretch. It's just like
And
everything
it's
all in one. That's
everything.
one of
Yeah.
my favorites. But yeah, so we go through like 4 or 5 different dynamic warm ups, and then we get into like a hip extension or a single leg extension. We're also doing some core exercises in between. So I like to a lot of times, okay, we'll do, let's say, a glute bridge and then we'll do a side plank or something like that to kind of like give you a rest per se. You're giving your glutes a rest while also activating your core.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I'll organize those. And then once those 4 weeks are up, which we're almost up right now for the first glute class, and then we're going to be transitioning to the next 4 weeks where we're going to be implementing dumbbells, we're going to be implementing resistance bands. So a lot of these women, they don't have gyms, so they're working out from home. A lot of times they'll have the smaller dumbbells. So right when we started, I was like, we need to get at least 20-pound dumbbells in your house
Yeah.
and these resistance bands that are like $25 on
Oh,
Amazon.
yeah.
Just like you can hook the anchor into your door frame and you can start doing exercises that way too. So that's what the next 4 weeks are going to be looking like. We're going to be adding that resistance. Like hopefully they're going to feel really good about the movements after the 4 weeks of a lot of repetition. So we're doing like 4 to 5 workouts right now a week, which is a lot. But
Yeah.
we're going to be moving down to 3 workouts per week with like a cardio in there because I do want them to still increase their heart rate a little bit because I think that's important as well. Although, when you're exercising your glutes, which is something that I love, you're not only getting that strength and hypertrophy in the glutes, but you're also raising your heart rate more than you would, say, an upper body workout. So you are still getting that stamina and increasing your cardiovascular output when you're doing the lower body exercises as well.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
and then
So,
like say you're doing a deadlift or something, you're activating your back as well. Like you're getting so much out of it that it's like why, I don't know why.
It's really hard unless you're doing like isolated leg extensions or curls or calf raises too. And even calf raises are going to get your core and stuff as well. But it's really hard to just isolate one muscle group in your leg. Like you're using most of your whole body when you're
Yes.
doing those leg X. So that's a good point. That's a very
Yeah,
good point.
and to your point, like we're doing a lot of compound movements, especially once we get into these next 4 weeks. But then we're also implementing some of those isolation movements as well. Like we're doing some clamshell exercises, some abduction exercises. So we're not only getting into that hip extension, which is really going to maximize your glute max, med, and min, but then we're getting into the abduction and external rotation exercises, which are also going to really activate all of those glute muscles.
That's great. And now, so that's is it a 12-week program that you're working with these individuals?
Yes, yes. And then they can all, of course, stay on, but just the initial 12 weeks, and then, you know, they can
Go from
just
there.
leave.
So what's the last 4 weeks look like? Is it just an increase
The
in
last
load
4 weeks
or
is really getting them into that strength training routine. So then you're going to start doing hip thrusts. Like if you're at home, you're going to get some kind of pillow or pad or something, and you're going to put those weights on your lap, and you're going to start doing hip thrusts on your couch. You know, like with your shoulder blades against your couch, and you're
yeah,
going to start hip thrusting on your couch. So I want to really prepare them to be able to, if they were to go to a gym, to be able to feel confident going to the gym and to feel confident in these heavier lifts, because that's really how you're going to get your glutes stronger and bigger, is
yeah.
by lifting heavier. You really, that's,
You
um,
have to.
you
You
have
have to.
to. The glutes,
Yeah.
unfortunately, are something that are not easy to grow, actually.
I
Like it
think
takes a lot.
if and maybe I don't want to make an assumption here, and maybe there's a way to do this, but it's really, really difficult to grow your glutes. I almost say glow your glutes.
Grow your
To
glutes, yes.
to grow your glutes if you're in a severe or even just a little bit of a caloric deficit because you're trying to put on mass. So your
Yeah.
butt doesn't get bigger unless there's more stuff there. Like that's the
Mhm.
goal.
Mhm.
Um, Now you can do it pretty cleanly. It doesn't say you have to eat like, eat Twinkies and everything else like crazy to try and grow it, but
Mhm.
you need calories in order to build that muscle. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of people will say, I want to grow my butt, but shrink my stomach. And it's really difficult to do at the same time, but you can if you, depending on where you're starting, I guess it would make a difference.
Yeah, so yes, that does. The beautiful thing about glute training and lower body training is that you're going to be going through this body recomp. And if you
Yeah.
don't, like, I know you know what a recomp is, but a recomp is like when you're building muscle and you're losing fat at the same time. So that is something that actually can happen in glute class, because you're building that muscle, but you're also going to start losing fat if you're resistance training and if you're following the nutrition plan.
Yeah.
And a lot of women, I'm really like, something that I've found that's really hard for these women is like they're just attached to the scale. Like
Yeah.
if they don't see the scale moving, they're like, "Oh, it's not working." And I'm like, stop. It is
Yeah.
working. You're just like, muscle weighs more than fat, and you need to be paying attention to how you're feeling and how you think you look. Like if you want to look in the mirror, like that's fine. Like look in the mirror. I had all of them take before photos because I want them to actually see the difference, not just like look at it on the scale, because honestly, I since I started strength training, I've gained weight, but I look so much better. If
Oh,
that
absolutely. There was a woman I was working with who she had severe body dysmorphia and trouble eating. She couldn't track calories because it was definitely a trigger. So we just worked on, all right, I need you to get the protein in. We're going to eat these sort of things. And she was eating more. and she was having trouble getting enough protein in, but she's like, Derek, I know I'm eating more. Like I'm doing the best I can. I'm like, that's all right. Just keep going. Like I don't want you to feel sick or anything like that, but
Yeah.
we gotta, I think she told me what she ate in a day, and it was maybe 1,200 calories, if that, which is not sustainable. And she would tell me what she'd eat, and I do the numbers in my head. And we
Yeah.
had pushed it up to, I think I'd gotten her around the 1,800 to 2,000 range for
Wow.
that month. She didn't gain a pound, but she didn't lose a pound. She didn't gain a pound, and she was so upset. Like, Derek, I'm on the scale. I didn't lose any weight. I'm like, you realize you're eating almost twice as much as you did, and you're not gaining any weight. Like, it's okay that the scale stays. I'm like, how do you feel?
Yeah.
She's like, great. How do you look? I look so much better. I'm like, then screw the scale. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You can,
Can we just throw it in the trash and burn it? Like,
honestly,
ah,
honestly, yes. And I mean, I
I
guess depending on where you're starting,
yeah,
yes, you do need to see it move.
yes,
But putting on a pair of pants, you can tell everything you need to right there. If they're
exactly.
too tight and then they start fitting better, then that's,
Mhm,
but you just need to be comfortable in your own skin and how you
mhm.
feel. For
Yeah.
me, I know once the seatbelt goes over my stomach and I feel it on the belt, I'm like, all right, that's not
Uh-huh.
good. Yeah, but that's this. Yeah, you're right.
Well, and
Scale.
so like when I say like glute training, um, is this like recomp in your body. So like I said, building muscle, the scale might go up because you are building muscle and muscle weighs more than fat, but also like when you're glute training, you have a higher EPCOC, which is like excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, which can be in effect like 70 to 72 hours after, which means you're burning calories after you exercise. So this EPCOC is way higher in strength training than it is for cardio, for HIIT,
Yeah.
those kinds of exercises. So you're actually burning more calories at rest after strength training than you are with any other type of exercise.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know
Yeah.
too. So if someone, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, and
Yeah.
if you don't like it, we can just cut it after. But what would you say are the three? I'll just pick three, but if you have one more, one less, whatever's fine. If you were to tell somebody like, all right, you got to hit your protein, but you know what you're doing in the gym. Here are the three exercises I want you to do to really focus on your glutes. What would
Yeah.
you say?
I would say hip thrusts because those are great for really building your glutes. Um, and they're through a short range of motion, but there's been studies that have shown that this is one of the best exercises. Squats. These are the three big ones.
Yeah.
And they probably won't surprise you. Like I'm not there's nothing like crazy that I'm doing that's like totally wacky and different. But it's squats, hip thrusts, deadlifts.
Yep, those would be
Yeah.
but you need a program and you need a plan, which is
Yeah.
where you come in. You could tell somebody those are the three things you have to do, and unless you know how to do them or when to do them or the frequency or the volume or that there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, and it's
But
about mixing up the variety of your movements and the rep schemes and the times. So it's not just about, oh, this is the exercise movement that I have to do. It's like, let's put some variety in here. Maybe you're going to start at a lower weight and do more reps, but then the next time we program, we're going to put the weight up, and then your reps are going to go down, and we're going to do it that way, and adjusting even like the rest periods. And maybe you're pausing at the top versus at the bottom, or like just different. There's so many different ways that you can do progressive overload, and that's really the key to strength training and building. And then, of course, your nutrition has to be
yeah.
there too. But um, that's kind of how I would approach building a program. Is yeah, we're going to do these three big exercises, but then let's do some isolation movements in there as well. Let's do some I've been loving, so right now I just started doing some cable kickbacks.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen like a lot of women, they've been putting the anchor point like lower and then kicking back. But I work with my own coach as well, and we're now doing something where we're actually bringing the anchor point up to like ankle height when you flex
Oh,
your hip.
okay.
So we're bringing it up to ankle height, and then we're kicking back, and that way we're getting more length through the glute on the way on the eccentric way back.
Oh, I
So
gotcha.
yeah,
It's
that's been
it,
kind of fun.
it's fun though how those little changes make it different. A buddy and I were doing the the squat rack,
Uh-huh.
not the barbell, but squat rack, and we had to start each set with 2 10-second, drop downs. As you're holding the weight, you're going down, counting to 10, and then you did two of those, and then you do your reps of 10. And
Oh,
my
dang.
butt is so sore after that. Like I'm like, why can't I? I'm like, oh, now I remember.
Uh-huh.
But it's switching up because it's not a different movement. I do that movement all the time, but it's just like you said, varying with the way you're doing it.
It's something else that I want to emphasize is when you're doing your exercises, you want to really make sure that you're not dropping to the ground and you're really making sure you're going through that full eccentric range of motion, meaning like you're not letting your body drop to the ground, you're letting it kind of reset. You're slowly resetting your body instead of just letting gravity take it.
You're controlling the weight as
You're
opposed to
controlling the
gravity.
weight. Yes, because that's like the number one thing that I see in a lot of my clients is like they're really just they're working out, they're trying to get all the reps in, and I'm like, okay, you need to slow it down. You need because you want to maximize the time that you're here, right?
Yeah.
So don't just rush through it. Like let's lift with intention.
I like that lift with intention because you like a 2 second decline, like when you're going down, that's so much different than just dropping and then trying to pop back up.
Right.
And you're not going to get hurt as much because your muscles are controlling the weight as opposed to if you get down all the way and your knees are the joints are getting hit with that weight all at once. That's not
Yeah.
going to
And also
do
like
do
you're
good.
building muscle in that eccentric contraction. That's like a huge part of muscle
Yeah.
building. Like if
Yeah.
you're just taking that out, you're taking out half your gains,
That is very true. That is
you
very
know?
true.
So it's
I
really
like that lift with
compass.
intention because
Yeah.
it every rep you should be focused. And I know like sometimes you go to the gym, there's definitely that social aspect to it. And we
Hmm.
all have our crappy lifting days. It does happen. But
Oh yeah.
just focus like you're there. You might
Yeah.
as well put in 45 minutes where you're not on your phone the whole time.
Yeah. When I was
I
at
that
F45, I remember I was just like, okay, like as fast as I can go,
yeah,
just trying to get through the whole workout. And then when I started training on my own and doing the progressive overload, like one on one with my coach, I was like, oh, this is actually how I should be
this is
lifting.
working out. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a clip I saw where some guy was trying to cut, he had 90 days, and I don't know why he picked
Uh-huh.
that time frame. And he was the first week he was trying to lose like 20 or 30 pounds. And I know he said stay away from the scale, but he definitely you could tell he had some weight to lose. Um, and the first week was great. He lost like 3 pounds. In that first week, whenever anybody starts, you're going to lose a decent amount once
Yeah.
you dial it in. But he plateaued for the next 2 weeks and he ran into some guy at the gym who was jacked. And he's like, can you help me out? And he ended up training this guy and the movements he was having him do, the pace of it changed everything, the intensity, the focus. He's like, I'm getting way more out of a 45-minute workout than I did out of an hour and a half. And it was
Wow. That's
just the
awesome.
focus on each rep. And like the intensity was insane. So I wouldn't recommend going as hard as this guy did. There were definitely a few times he was puking in the bathroom because
Oh
of
God.
how severe it was. But
Oh God.
that's obviously an extreme
Yeah.
but it was it just had me refocused too. Everybody needs that sometimes where you just you get the focus better, and
Hmm.
that's what it takes, you know.
Hmm. Definitely.
Well,
Definitely.
Cass, I really appreciate you taking the time. I don't want to steal your whole day here.
No, no,
Is
no
there
worries at all.
anything that we missed that you really wanted to cover?
Um, I just think really emphasizing like how glute training can actually influence your quality of life is super important. So like I initially started this because of the aesthetics part, right? Like I'm like, oh, I want to build this. Like postpartum, my upper body isn't the same as what it used to be, and I'm like, okay, like I want to like make this part of my body more aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
But like now that I've dove into it and really understand the science behind it, I'm like, dang, this can actually prevent injury at my hips. It can prevent injury at my knees. It's going to increase core activation, make sure that like it can improve your posture. Like I've even seen improvements in my own posture. So I think in overall quality of life, and then like you're increasing your athleticism in general too.
Yeah.
So no matter what you're doing, I've been taking up golf recently, and I found
Nice.
like, okay, if I can like really use my hips and like that power in my glutes to like really drive through the golf ball, then I could be good at this. Like I'm
That's
still working
good.
out my mechanics, of course, but I'm like, okay, I know I can be good at this, you
All
know?
right, now that you said you're a golfer, a buddy of mine sent a reel to, I have that normal group chat that all the guys do, but it
Uh-huh.
was you could either have 750,000 or three chances to hit the green from 150 yards away for $5 million. What are you taking in
Three
that instance?
chances to hit the green
Yeah. Hit the green for,
from the box.
well, 150. What, yeah. So three chances for 5 million, or you just get 750, seven
I'd
hundred
take
fifty thousand.
750.
Yeah, I would too in a heartbeat. My buddy's like, think of all you can do with $5 million. I'm like, I would do nothing with that because I wouldn't get it. Like, give me the
No, right,
750K.
exactly.
100%.
My husband, on the other hand, he can hit a pretty good drive, but
All right,
maybe
give him that shot then. Give him
I
the
know.
chance on that one. I would just like, not that that happens anywhere, but I couldn't imagine missing those three and being like, crap. Like,
I
just give
know.
me the 750. Like, hitting a free
Right.
throw, I'd be pretty comfortable. I think I could
Yeah,
do that.
I would maybe do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Uh,
Well, thank you so much for joining us. How can people get in touch with you? What's the best way? And all this
uh,
I'll put in the show notes.
Yeah, Coach Cass Wellness. And then the next glute class that I'm starting up, spots are going to start to open at the end of May. And I'll be doing another 3 weeks of the Cass glute class. And if you want to train with me one on one, just reach out in my DMs
All right. And that's on Instagram as
on
Coach Cass Wellness.
Instagram, Coach Cass Wellness.
All right, that will be in the show notes for sure. Well, Cass, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
everybody else, give Cass a follow
Yes,
on
love that.
Instagram. Reach out to her. She is happy to talk. She loves fitness. I can
I
I
love
can
it.
vouch for
I
that.
love it.
So
Thank you so much, Derek. It's been a pleasure.
awesome. Thank you.